Wait. Before we start, just want to make sure we're clear here. While this podcast talks about sobriety, mental health, and addiction, it is not meant to replace professional medical advice. Welcome to Sisters in Sobriety.
I'm Kathleen.
And I'm Sonia.
And we're ex-sisters-in-law, brought together in marriage and bonded through our sobriety journey.
Join us as we talk sobriety, addiction, and everything in between. You're in for quite a ride. And our Substack is buzzing with amazing content, from creative mocktail recipes to insightful courses and reflective exercises. There is something for everyone. Don't miss out. It's a great way to add some extra joy and depth to your journey. Check it out. Welcome to Sisters in Sobriety and to our series, The Truth About Sober Dating, Sex, and Relationships, where we ask our guests 10 burning questions we have about dating. And today we have Samantha. So, Sam, can you tell us a little bit about your relationship status or relationship history and about who you are?
So I am a registered psychotherapist here in Ontario, and I have been in this field for far too long. I'm going to age myself, so about 25 years now. I work a lot with families and children, currently doing a lot of supervising of clinicians as well, which I'm loving. And I have a private practice in Barrie, Ontario, which keeps me nice and busy. I am currently of the single status, and previous relationships, yes, but currently leaning into the single side of things.
Okay, I get that. I go back and forth between
Yes.
leaning in and then like dipping and then leaning harder back into the single thing.
That seems to be I don't want to call it a trend, but that seems to be pretty consistent with both my friends that are in that dating pool, as well as many clients I work with, that there's a lot of, like you said, leaning in, leaning out, doubling down, shutting down. We get a lot of that.
Yeah, my therapist calls like the men that I've dated the clearance rack. And she's like, why are you getting men off the clearance rack? Yeah.
Please up your price.
That's exactly it. Okay. So do you remember your first date sober?
I do.
Ooh.
I do. I think I was, which is, I feel sort of silly saying that I didn't think it was that big of a deal. So that was my own sort of ignorance, which really, given my background and everything I talk about with other people, maybe I should have known. But I really didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal. And as it turns out, yeah, it brought up a lot of questions. Not that I'm not okay with people asking questions about why, but questions that felt much judgmental or, just really not fully understanding. I'm comfortable to say I didn't ever feel like I had an issue with alcohol that I needed to correct, but just that I've chosen at this point in my life that alcohol is not a part of it. And there's this huge misunderstanding about why people don't drink and why you would choose not to, and just a lot of concern about why someone would choose that I don't think I was prepared for.
Okay, so that was my second question is, what is your go-to response when someone asks, why don't you drink?
Initially, especially with someone, the conversation's obviously going to be maybe a little bit more in depth with someone I'm feeling more connected to or further along with. But initially, I really just land on this place of it's just a choice that I've made, that I'm really enjoying life sober and all of the gifts that brings. And I don't hesitate to say I've been through periods of my life where drinking was a part of it in a irregular way, both a social way and different levels of which I engaged in alcohol use. But right now, I'm just choosing to not have that be a part of it.
Yeah, that is a perfectly reasonable response.
Yes, and I think it's one that I would encourage people to feel more confident about leaving it at that, especially in the beginning. again, I'm not telling people what they should and should not feel comfortable with. If you want to go deeper, please go deeper. But I don't think everybody has earned that deeper level of conversation until they have.
Yes, I totally agree. And I think there has to be some level of safety, right? Where you're going to tell somebody the whole story.
Right. And that you're not going to feel like your first or second date is going to
Yeah.
be a grilling of why you've chosen, which back to your first question was kind of what happened. The person just spent so much time and energy digging. And I was just so caught off guard as to why it was like that. I just wasn't expecting it. I guess I wasn't expecting it to be the biggest deal or game changer that it seemed to be. So,
Yeah, I'm surprised too. I usually try to get it out of the way before I meet somebody, if it's like
right.
an app thing. So if it's a big deal for you, let's find out now.
Well, and I think that's what I leaned into is like it has to be a part of, for me, that very upfront before we go anywhere. This is just right, and I'm okay with that. Again, I think I was just taken aback that that had to be
Oh,
the way.
I get it. Okay, what is a green flag you look for now that you wouldn't have noticed before?
I think being curious. So someone who is genuinely interested in asking, what kind of things do you do? I think now I'm really looking at how they are communicating. So how they are able to have a conversation that flows, that has a bit of a balance between them and me. And I will go back to that curiosity piece. Yeah, I really am into just people feeling curious about anything and engaging in conversations that are leading somewhere deeper than, what I look like or what you look like or what you do for a living. All those things are important, and have, a starting point. But yeah, I think just feeling out how people are comfortable with communication and engaging in a back and forth. It doesn't feel one-sided.
Yeah, curiosity is big. What about a red flag that you used to ignore, but is a deal breaker now? I got so many.
Not enough time for all of that. Um, I think a red flag for me is their current relationships with family and friends. So I tend to be more cautious or move away from people that don't have what I would consider to be healthy relationships in their life with it. Again, I don't know everybody's backstory. So some people definitely, have had to move away from certain relationships, maybe with siblings or parents or whatever for their own mental health and stability, which as a therapist, I really support. What what I think is sometimes you get people that they don't have good relationships with anybody. They don't have a good relationship with their ex. They don't have a good relationship with their parents. They don't have friends in their life that are healthy. And everything is always everybody else's fault as to why that relationship didn't work.
Oh my God. So my red flag is when somebody talks shit about their ex.
Right.
No way. Like, or people who are like, well, I'm trying not to date narcissists anymore. And it's like, okay. Or I'm trying
Right.
to date crazy women anymore. It's like, nope.
Well, and I think that so again, that gives you some insight into their accountability and responsibility that they've taken in the past in their relationships. Listen, most of us at this point in life have been in a bad relationship, gotten out of one. I'm here for all of that. There's a difference, I think, in growth and maturity when you can say, yeah, we were good together then. We still don't maybe have the greatest relationship now, but right, if we have kids together, we figured out a way to make it work there. And she's a good mom. And, like those are the things that I think to me are big green flags. And the red flag, like you said, is more this like everything is everybody else's fault as to why a relationship didn't work.
Yeah, somebody told me a story once, the guy who said, I'm trying not to date crazy women, about this, like, elaborate lie he had been told by a woman he was dating, and she ended up being married and living in an apartment he didn't even know about. She said she was going to Harvard for business school, but she like, wasn't, and, you know what? I'm gonna say that reflects on him too, okay? Like, how did you not pick up?
Yeah, I have worked with some people specifically in therapy that have really been taken
Um, yeah.
seriously for, and we while there is blame and definitely the other person's, we really do what we come around to is taking responsibility again for what did I choose to ignore?
Yes.
What because I was looking for to fill something, but I wasn't willing to look at the whole picture. I was willing to ignore these things because this thing over here fit.
He said he was willing to ignore some of the inconsistencies because she was so physically attractive.
Right.
Yeah.
But more often than not, that is
Jackass.
very much. Yes. That's
Okay, what is your go-to sober date activity? And what do you say if someone wants to meet up for a drink?
yeah. I think this we're in the dead of winter talking about the ice storm here. So I haven't been doing much walking dates, but I really do enjoy something that's a little bit more physical. I mean, I don't mean you have to go for, a massive wall climbing or something, but grabbing a coffee and going for a walk. I live
Yeah.
somewhere where there's a beautiful waterfront. So some of my favorite dates I've had have been just doing something simple like that and then grabbing a seat and being able to sit and talk, but also walking, I think is really nice for keeping conversations flowing and allowing for if you're feeling nervous even to feel a bit more relaxed because you're letting some of that energy out. So I really do enjoy for the beginning something simple like that. I think also if you're into doing like fun activities, plan something like go to an escape room or, something like that. And everybody's into like axe throwing and, things like that, but something where there is an activity in which you can engage in, which offers a certain level of distraction that you can focus on, but still allows you to kind of get to know a person a little bit better.
I will
Yeah.
say the best thing that ever happened, I have a boyfriend now, is on our first date. Um, I was standing by the waterfront, when he came to meet me, and I dropped my AirPods case over the waterfront into the rocks in front of the water, and he went and got the AirPods.
Green flag.
He, like, climbed stuff and, like, scaled rocks, and he got my AirPods, so that was yeah, but I agree, the walking coffee is one of my favorites too.
It's simple, right?
Yeah.
And I think, I also think you get to a certain age in this and, I don't need to go sit down, have an expensive dinner with somebody to, make space to even just feel out if the energy feels good to me, if it feels like something I'd like to, continue, or if they would with me, right? Like, I think a lot more people are getting more comfortable with that idea that you can ease into different things. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, what is your advice for someone who's going on their first date without a drink?
Oh, wow. I think it comes from you getting super clear with yourself before you step foot into that date about what are my boundaries? Like what piece am I comfortable about this? Am I comfortable sharing? And how am I going to say that with confidence?
Yeah.
And that's going to be different for everybody, but it might even be practicing what you could say with a friend, a trusted friend or family member, or, your therapist or, whomever, if you're part of a group, a support group or something, opening that and like hearing from other people, how did they tackle that? And for me, though, it's really about knowing what your boundary is and the first piece of getting to know somebody and just feeling confident to say, that's how I'm willing to share about that right now.
Yeah, that's great advice. Okay, this is interesting one. How much are you comfortable with your date or your partner drinking? Like, what are your limits? I am very rigid. I have a 2 drink maximum with.
Right.
So if someone I'm dating or on a date with, or my partner can, drinks more than 2 drinks in a sitting, that is too much for me. Do you have any?
I think I don't know that I have a number in my head, the rigid piece of that, although I understand why people do. For me, I think it's more about understanding if they know I'm not, it doesn't mean I don't feel like they need to be, but I do think it does speak to a level of respectfulness that, at least in the beginning, if you can't even not do that as a sign of, or just like you said, have one and stop at that, then I have to again put the onus on me to say, does that align with my values and who I want to be with? Yeah, because again, I don't know that I have a number, but I certainly think it's probably another red flag if you can't find something to do where that isn't a part of it with that person. And again, I don't mean a red flag in that they have a problem with alcohol and should stop, but a red flag that that's maybe not a safe and healthy relationship for you to be in if that's not a part of their ability to.
Yeah. I mean, someone said to me too, like, it's also like an environmental thing. So if it's like a Tuesday night and you do 2 shots at the bar, yeah, maybe the 2 is actually too many.
Right.
Yeah.
And here we talk about the communication piece. Like, again, are they asking you how that you feel about that? Right? Are they asking you, would it be better for us to not go somewhere where there's alcohol? Would it be better would you be more comfortable if I didn't drink? Because I'm okay to do that. Again, those are all, to me, that communication piece is really giving you some insight and understanding of who that person is, what they value, and how seriously they're taking this possible relationship.
Yeah. I agree. Who do you call after a first date to dinner?
You know, what most women do, they have a best friend in there who they're able to pick up the phone and say all the good, all the bad, and also say, get feedback. So,
Yeah.
I definitely have a best. I'm lucky I have a couple, 2 of them that I quite regularly go, oh my God, you'll never believe.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
God, what client?
My therapist did say to me, why don't you try to get advice from people who you actually think have had a good relationship? And I thought that was interesting. I hadn't thought about that before.
Right.
Yeah, like she said, a successful relationship. Someone who has navigated a successful relationship. Maybe ask them.
Successful, I think I would even go further in your eyes, because
Yeah,
everybody's ideas of what a successful relationship is can be quite different, right? So, yes, someone whose relationship you admire. And, again, for me, it's realistic admiration of they have ups, they have downs, they have arguments, they have disagreements, and are able to work through them and be themselves and show up in that way and be supported. But anyways, yeah, that's
yeah.
really good advice.
This is a good one. If your love life had a playlist, what is the first track?
Oh my goodness, that's a hard, hard one.
We can come back to it. I have one more.
Yeah, I want to say I'm a survivor. Yeah, I'm a survivor.
Mine changes. But
It does.
yeah,
I think I'm a survivor gives the bigger history of it.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Probably now it's a little lighter.
that's a
Fun,
good one.
something more upbeat.
Yeah. Oh my. Okay. Fill in the blank.
Yes.
I used to think love was blank. Now I know it's blank.
Oh, that's a good one. I used to think love was I used to think love was, how do I explain this? All encompassing. I used to think it was everything. Like love was it. If you were in a relationship, you gave it your all. You did everything. You did everything to make it work. It was, 150% on your part. I have become much more, I think, I don't know if realistic is the right word, or just an understanding of love is not 50-50. It is 100-100, and it's 80-20, and it's 60-40, and it's a constant change of being able to be with someone who is able to not only match you where you're at, but fill up when you're down. And then you're able to give back when they're down. Like there is this constant flow. It's not just everybody going all out all the time to make it work, that there has to be more of I'm going to say balance, but it's not even balance. It is about understanding when you need to give more, when you need to pull back. And I don't think I ever understood that in my early days.
I don't think I understood it until just now.
I'm like, I probably explained that very poorly, but
Yeah, the giving. Okay, so I understand now that a relationship isn't going to complete me,
yeah.
but I still give a lot.
Mhm.
And maybe I do need to. I was reading a book the other day where someone said, like, in life, in general, in relationships, reserve 10% for yourself.
Well, and it's so, I think that's interesting that that's the point you came to, because that's kind of it. It's like, where else do you give above and beyond without feeling depleted? You can't. If all you do is focus and put all your energy and time into work or your kids or whatever it is, again, we can love everybody and love what we do in that. But if it's always at 150%, then you burn out.
Yeah.
And so women especially, and I'm not saying it doesn't happen to men too, but I feel like women especially are constantly caught in this giving role. And really, we need to get much better at receiving.
Yeah.
And knowing when we've hit that limit, and not only don't give 100%, but like dial it back and say, I need you. And that to me would be the sign of a really healthy relationship and a good partner, is that then they're able to lift up and say, I got this. I'm going to fill in this. It doesn't mean they're going to do that forever, but while
like a
you're
dynamic.
yes. And that's again the communication, right? Like I'm not at 100%. I'm at 50 right now, and I need support to fill that up.
Sam, you answered all 10 questions with some of the best advice I've ever gotten about relationships and dating. Thank you so much.
Oh, I love chatting with you, and this was so fun and so relevant to, I think, so many people. So yeah, I'm so happy to be a part of it.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
This was Sisters in Sobriety.
Thank you for listening and being with us today.
If you want to learn more about sobriety and meet your community, find us at sistersinsobriety.substack.com.
Are you a sister in sobriety? Then reach out on social media. We'd love to hear from you.
If you're feeling generous, leave us 5 stars and a review and follow us wherever you listen.
You'll never miss an episode. Until next time.